Has anybody ever heard of this guy, Paul Massaro? Paul Massaro is an advisor to the Helsinki Commission. And he was one of the speakers at the Captive Nations Summit, which was held at the Victims of Communism Museum in Washington, D.C. Over the weekend. I did not know there was a Victims of Communism Museum in Washington, D.C.
Is there
I can tell
really?
you, I bet they charge too much for parking. I can tell you that. I guarantee you that. They do not validate over at the Victims of Communism Museum. And people are happy to pay. They're happy to pay for parking.
Yeah, they want to give you a taste of capitalism at work.
Freedom and market choices.
Freedom to pay for parking.
Freedom to pay $18 to park at the Victims of Communism Museum. It would just be great if everything in that museum was an absolute rip-off.
At the Communism Museum, the line is around the block.
At the Communism Museum, it's around the block, right? No, Victims of Communism Museum, the gift shop employees, they make $3 an hour. They got 14-year-olds working there, right? And the T-shirts, $85. Right, but you have choice.
You have choice of souvenirs. At the Communist Museum, you can get a hammer, you can get a sickle. That's it.
Exactly, that's it. At the Victims of Communism Museum, the people who choose to work there for $3 an hour are grateful for the opportunity. Because if they're willing to work for $3 an hour, and that's what the Victims of Communism Museum wants to pay them, why should the government step in and force them to pay them more? Why?
Well,
That's
also,
right.
I mean, the person who runs the place started out validating the parking.
Right,
Exactly. You work your way up. That guy makes $9 an hour.
Exactly.
Okay, triple.
Yeah, see, Tusker's got it right. Your tax dollars at work at the Victims of Communism Memorial. All right. So
I was just gonna say that's not funded by like a Republican think tank. Like, is that a part of the Smithsonian? What the hell is that?
who the hell knows? But it was Tusker who sent us this story in the first place. So thank you, Tusker. She tweeted it at me,
Yes,
and I'm
she
assuming,
did.
Russell,
She
she
did.
texted it to you
Yes,
because you
yes.
sent me this video. Listen to this fucking maniac who's very upset that there are certain people here at home concern trolling about nuclear war. So let's hear this guy.
Biggest thing is fear. I think we're fearful. It's very funny to me because you meet Ukrainians. Not a single Ukrainian's fearful. You talk to Ukrainians, like, what if the Russians use nuclear weapons? They're like, we'll keep fighting and we'll win. It's only the Westerners that are, oh my God, I'm
First
over
of all, you're telling me the Ukrainian people are not fearful of a nuclear bomb going off? Who?
Nah, man,
Is that a statement you can just
fucking-
make on all of
those
their
people
behalf?
They eat uranium for breakfast. Don't they?
Right? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What kind of a statement is that? And that's not even nearly the most insane thing he said.
nuclear weapons. They're like, we'll keep fighting and we'll win. It's only.
No, you're not going to keep fighting if a nuclear bomb goes off in the country. No, you will not keep fighting. Do you know what nuclear weapons are?
Those people eat uranium and shit and hydrogen weapons.
That's why we dropped the bombs on Japan, because we knew that by doing that, we would end it, right? I'm not saying it was the right thing to do. I obviously think it was a horrific thing to do. But that was the whole rationale, is that once that happens, they can no longer keep fighting. So what the fuck are you talking about? They're not afraid. They'll keep fighting. What's this fucking Harry Sisson got in a time machine? This guy's a maniac. He has the same mannerisms as Harry Sisson.
Harry Sisson has a bright future in Washington.
Exactly, yeah.
The Westerners that are.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
The Westerners that are, oh my God, I'm over here in California, and what if the Russians use nuclear weapons? It's this almost pathetic. Like, well, we want to help the Ukrainians, but not if it costs us even a modicum of comfort. So
a modicum of comfort. A modicum of comfort. I got these people saying, I don't know, what if they drop a nuclear bomb on San Francisco? They're fucking pussies. Well, you want to help the Ukrainians, but not if it costs you a modicum of comfort.
Have you ever seen Mad Max? That's a pretty cool car.
Yeah, right,
that is a pretty cool car. Would you really not want to drive around in a radiated landscape in a souped up muscle car with a sawed off shotgun? Come on, people. That's worst case scenario.
Yeah. Who's the guy sitting next to him, by the way? Is this the president of the Victims of Communism Museum and Memorial? Because he's like, Jesus, send me back to the gulag before I have to hear any more of this guy.
Russian dissolution is bad for you, and Russian dissolution means a bunch of ethnic warring states, and it's going to be, very bad for the West, and you're better off with having your boy Putin in office who can, control the region for you or whatever.
Yeah, I have a question.
Well,
was this guy in the White House before the cocaine showed up? I'm starting to think maybe it was this guy's. Did they know where? Check his travel records. Was he in the White House the week before that cocaine surfaced?
It would not surprise me at all if new pictures surfaced on that laptop of him and Hunter double teaming a porn star. You know, like snorting rails off her back.
What a fucking piece of work this guy is.
We're not sure if we want to win yet, because if we wanted to win, the Ukrainians would win tomorrow. I think we should be very realistic about the extent to which we have been co-opted, that major elements of our society has been co-opted, and that this is still ongoing. These guys are so deep in our system. They have access to the best lawyers that the West has to provide. I mean, like, they've got all of New York City and London working for them. You know, we're a year and a half since the full-scale invasion.
I think this guy died.
You know, so I mean, we have to get this corruption out of our society. We do have to realize we're the good guys. And if we'd given them the weapons beforehand, they would have just taken it all back.
The guy just nods off.
That's a guy like, you know, I've got a lot less road ahead of me than I have behind, and I've made terrible choices.
Exactly.
What choices did I make that put me in a chair next to this fucking maniac?
What a lunatic. What a fucking maniac.
You know, we can't give any lethal weapons at all. We'll give them blankets. And we can't give them air defense. That'll somehow escalate things. You know, we were ready to lose in Ukraine.
This guy works for the government? This guy, like, gets paid by the government? This guy's, like, a respected DC insider? This is what I mean, folks. You know, when you don't have a president calling the shots, when the president can't make it through a 4-minute meeting with the Israeli president without reading his note cards and slurring his words, these are the kinds of people who end up in places of power, right? Who end up having influence, right? These guys. Who the hell ever heard of this guy? I didn't even know who the fuck this guy was until I saw this video. I did a little research on him.
I mean, come on, man. Washington's always been full of fucking people with this kind of shitty and grin who'll say whatever they're supposed to say to keep their job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But Zelensky, you have to leave. I mean, we went in and we tried to get the Ukrainians to give up the ghost, to give up Ukraine. That was our strategy. Half measures. I was really excited the first few weeks, and we sort of froze the reserves, and we were all talking about Putin's war chest. And it's like, well, what if your war chest is frozen? You know, which was pretty cool. And thank God for the Ukrainians, because for the first time in my life, I actually saw the West be like, oh my God, we do believe in this. We're still a little bit lost on, do we want to win?
What do you mean? For the first time?
Oh, yeah. No, the West never bombs countries. Like, the West never gets behind war.
The West never tries to impose its way of life on the rest of the world through force. No. They never. They're so hesitant to get involved in armed conflict, particularly indirectly. They really like that. Not as much blowback at home that way. You want to fuck it. You want to do a genocide in Yemen? All right, as long as we don't have boots on the ground. Here you go. How much do you need? I mean, look, even that, I mean, yes, what he's saying is just wrong, obviously, but even that is indicative of a certain Western chauvinism. And yes, as we said in our last show, a certain racism, right? He's like, this is the first time where the West really believed in this. What he's really meaning is this is the first time where he felt the West, or us, the U.S. in this context, what he's really obviously talking about. It's the first time in his lifetime where he felt like we could actually get the American people invested in this cause, because this is war in Europe, not war in the Middle East or war in Africa. This is war in Europe. That's what they were saying at the beginning of this war, right? There was an op-ed in a newspaper. Now, you know, this is happening to people who look like us. Literally, that's exactly the phrase that they used. So this is a version of that. All right, we'll let this guy finish.
In Ukraine? I mean, is that the goal? I mean, I think it should be the goal. And victory in Ukraine is victory against China, right? I mean, it deters China, it deters all totalitarians. Fear of what comes after Ukrainian victory. And that's what we're scared of.
Very well said. Everyone, please
Very
join
well
me.
said. Yeah, great.
I'm so wasted.
Yeah, right. Very well said. Thank you very much. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that guy is a fucking psycho. But
What a bit that guy was.
But Washington is full of guys like this. And if you're somebody in power who needs somebody who's just completely amoral to just put on symposiums, that's your guy. You know, guys like that always have a job out there. Those guys will never go hungry in Washington.
Please clap.